Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much for being here. My name is Sandeep,
My name is Amit.
and in the next 30 minutes, we're going to take you through a little journey of workplace transformation and how we believe this is going to be a massive shift that you can drive in each of your workplaces. So if I can grab the clicker. Now, it goes without saying that the future of work, and you've been hearing about it the last couple of days at this event, well, the future of work isn't out in the future, it is now. And this requires your attention. This requires action right now. And why is that? Well, very simply, the way we work and the workplace has gone through a massive change. Let's think about some of the key careabouts of every leader out there, including your CEO. The first and important one is agility is the new currency. Does your company, does your office, does the workplace have a culture of innovation and being able to drive great ideation and innovation across all the ways that they do things? A key care about for every CEO is about talent retention. Can I attract talent? And can I make sure that we retain that talent? And to that point, is the workplace that you have, does it really inspire folks, including millennials, or all the other types of folks in your organization? Is it driving a culture where they get things done? A key area that many of you have been involved with is building these buildings, but are you able to unlock the value of this real estate? How many of you have seen this where you built these beautiful rooms for actually 8 people, but typically used by 1 person? Yes? And the fact that we also live in an environment where we use so many tools. In fact, in Cisco, we did a survey ourselves. On a daily basis, every Cisco employee touches about 34 plus tools. So think about the friction that creates. So your teams really what they need is they want to work from anywhere, they want to get things done, and they want to be able to have that innovation culture and do things at light speed. So let's think of the challenges that we've seen, and let's consider a beautiful room like this. I'm sure it's quite familiar. Many of you have a beautiful space like this, but also think about the complexity in that space. To just start a simple meeting, the user probably would have had to use 3 remotes. There's no memory, there's no persistence, and it just created so much friction. So over the last decade, we at Cisco have been very hard at work to really reimagine how you think about the modern workplace, making it at a core team-centric. It has to be intelligent, invisible, where magic and magic moments just happen on the fly. It has to be integrated with how you do things, which is workflows, and most importantly, your customers, your partners, and you have made choices, technology choices. Cisco and all of these technology partners need to come together and provide an open platform. And this is what we've been driving towards. But if you really think to the next level, so it's not just the physical space. Teams need workplaces built for speed and innovation along the physical, the virtual too. I mean, just by show of hands, how many of you every morning, the first thing which you do when you wake up is reach for the mobile phone? Well, I do that too. In fact, you probably saw that even in the keynote. 64% of us, the first thing that we do is reach for that mobile phone. So our journeys start with that. And lastly, I spoke about the 34 plus tools. You probably have in your environment a similar number which your users are going through. And this is what Cisco has been very hard at work to see how we can really bring all of this together and drive innovation and speed. And then what we're doing is really taking this to the next level. Just by show of hands again, how many of you over here drive a self-driving car or a smart car? Okay, many of you. The reason I put this up here is the fact that the same technologies that you find in a device like this, in this beautiful car, is what we've embedded also at the platform. What that means then is you're having invisible, super intelligent moments in every part of how you think about the collaboration journey. Whether it is as you're starting the meeting, whether it is the fact that when you are in the meeting, or as you exit the meeting, how can you have these magical, invisible moments which drive aha for all your users? So let me take you through a few examples. Let's take a simple example. Your users walk into a meeting space, and what is the first thing they do? They're looking for cables, dongles, things to connect and share content. What if that became just so simple, I didn't need to even lift a finger. One click, and I'm able to share that content seamlessly from any device and be able to pair and share. What about the fact that your users a lot of times even have friction? What button do I press? We spent a lot of time bringing the big green button to every one of your experiences in terms of starting meetings. We're now taking it to the next level where the user doesn't even need to press the button. He can just speak to the device and say, hey, Webex, can you start my meeting? Easy. What about the fact that every meeting that you join, typically there's 15 to 20 minutes of conversation happening where folks are just going around introducing themselves. What if that just went away, where your name label, your title, and even getting inside of who you are is just visually available to everybody? That took 20 minutes of that meeting, but think across your company, the productivity gain that you could have. What about the fact that in every meeting, we always have the angry typer, somebody just banging away? I have one, Jason from my team, he does this all the time, where he will just bang away at his keyboard. 8 seconds later, he is muted. How good is that? What about the fact that many of you at times will work from home, and you have next door your neighbor's dog who is barking away? What if the platform was intelligent, where it knew what was the human voice and the dog voice and just suppressed the dog voice? And yes, this is happening. And lastly, as you close out on that meeting, having meeting notes. We always are scrambling around asking each other, hey, did you take notes? Can we compare? What if this happened invisibly? Recording, translation, and transcription, all happening on the fly. And lastly, many of you have built these beautiful rooms and beautiful spaces. How do you get analytics? How do you drive business decisions? How do you start thinking about utilization of these spaces? Again, all something that we've spent a lot of time superpowering through that platform and delivering to your users. So, should I show you what the new Webex is all about? Let's roll the video.
Thank you, Sandeep. So what you just saw, this is Webex here and now. If you went to Webex today and started using it, this is how it looks like. And every single month, it's going to keep getting better from here on in. So I'm going to touch upon some of the key updates that are coming in the next 2 to 4 months, starting with that first meeting of the day. The meeting that we are driving in, we're on our mobile. That has to be way simpler than it is, right? Fumbling for, is my video on? Where's the mute button? Available now is the simple mode or the car mode. You get in, you just swipe right, a simple mute, unmute, your video is already off. You get out, swipe left, and the normal mode is back. Your second meeting of the day could be even more interesting with what we have as the dual camera support. So we've been keeping up with Apple and iOS, the dual cameras. What this is going to allow people to do is, as you see me as a meeting participant, you're also able to see what the other camera is seeing. So see what I'm seeing. And the kind of use cases this can enable, we haven't even scratched the surface. iOS introduced this, so we've incorporated in the Webex meetings. So these were quick mobile enhancements, but by far, the most significant thing that we have launched this week is the Webex Assistant for Webex meetings. Think of this assistant as it's going to grow, get smarter, and get more and more skills over time. But at the get-go, the 4 things it's going to be able to do is live transcriptions, closed captioning, meeting summaries, and highlights. The transcriptions are natively supported in English at the get-go. Spanish, French, and German are the next in line. Same thing for translation. I think we're working on Spanish. The other languages will follow in the coming months. The transcription itself, you might say, is not new news, right? Have any of you used it before in your meetings? No? They've always been third-party options available. So whichever meeting conferencing solution you use, you could use a third-party integration, get closed captioning and transcriptions. But that has always been an experiment. People have toyed with it, but never embraced it really. And the reason for that has been the privacy concerns. Every single CIO that we've had conversations with has said, it's my meeting and my intellectual property, my company's intellectual property. And if that's going to go over to a third party somewhere with data centers God knows where, on top of that, train their AI, they're not going to be comfortable about it. So for them, the baseline has to be that the transcription, the extraction of language or summaries from there has to be under a vendor like Cisco, where we have the privacy, data governance, e-discovery, all of that infrastructure already built in and ready. And this, by far, is going to unblock a bunch of use cases where people have just been testing this and never really jumped into it. As we save all of these transcripts within our data centers or our data lakes, there's another little use case that it opens up. Search and recall. We always go back to our mail clients, search for emails, search for old messages, what was said when, and all of that. But we're never able to do that about our meetings. Are we? Like, the meetings I had, all the meetings I had leading up to this event here, prep, whom did I meet with, what did we discuss, what were the key topics, the follow-ons from there, it was never available. With this, people are able to extract highlights, then edit the key points captured by Webex Assistant, and then share with others, and then search through the history. So this almost makes all of our meetings as meetings in the Evernote, if any of you use Evernote. The skills keep growing, and as I said, the interesting skill, Sandeep alluded to it, is the conference room booking problem. How many of you work in open floor plan environments over here? More and more of us are doing that, and the most common scenario, 3 or 4 of us get together, we're walking about, can we find a room? Can we find a room? And you find one unoccupied one, and you want to lock it down. You want to get it, right? There's no easy way today to get. You're then going to fumble in your Outlook and try to see the availability and all of that. As opposed to that, talk to the endpoint over there, reserve this room for the next 60 minutes. After you reserve it for 60 minutes, sure enough, there are going to be times when you're running over. You see that you're not wrapping up. tell the Webex device to say, extend the booking by another 30 minutes. All of these skills that we're talking about, the one common theme you'll notice going forward is whether it's our mobile apps, desktop apps, or the devices, all of these things are showing up concurrently. We're not solving problems differently in all of these different things. And the reason for that is finally, all of our infrastructure, whether it's meetings, calling, messaging, intelligence, it ties together in a single Webex platform. The way the picture describes, it's very clear. On the one hand, you have the experience centers, the same experience delivered, whether it's web, mobile, desktop, Cisco devices, third-party devices, the same flexibility of deployment. It could be in the cloud. There are cases when it makes sense to go hybrid, or it could be on-prem. And then on the other end, it's as open can be. Every single software tool your workforce might be using, be it Microsoft, Google, Salesforce, and thousands of workflow apps, we integrate with them at a platform level. What that means is, if you're using Webex Meetings, you'll benefit there. If you're using Webex Teams, you'll benefit over there. And this has been fairly involved work for the past 12 to 18 months. We've really been conscious about pulling it together as a platform. But the endeavor for 2020 is the unified client. And there's a very good reasoning behind that. Having a single platform only solves half the problem. So many times, Cisco and others have tried to solve this as, we're going to build that one Uber client, which you're going to use for doing everything. But the problem with that is nobody's going to embrace that one client for doing everything when you've got a platform chosen for messaging, some other platform chosen for maybe calling. And that kind of makes the getting started or adoption difficult. And that's why it's not really unified. Actually, the keyword here is modular. The app is becoming modular in that the same Webex app could be used in the messaging-only mode, in the meetings-only mode, calling-only mode, and we won't stop there, even in a device companion mode. And the reason for that is everything you do in your apps and you're walking about in your open offices, it only comes to life when you pair it with an intelligent Webex device. More on that, Sandeep?
Thank you very much, Amit. That was fantastic. And you know, no event at Cisco Live will go without us making some incredible announcements of our device portfolio. And I want to talk you now through one of the devices which is my favorite. I call it the Instant Office because it transforms how you think about the modern workplace, bringing intelligence absolutely across every part of how you think about experiences. So let's go ahead and roll with a little video. Can we roll with the video, please?
Okay, Webex, book this room for 30 minutes.
Got it.
The Webex Desk Pro, 27-inch 4K amazing display, intelligence built into every part of the experiences that you have from this device. Supports whiteboarding, applications, games, USB-C. It is the most intelligent device that we have built. By the way, who wants to take one of these back with them? Okay? You're in for a surprise. We are actually giving these away. We call it Spin It to Win It. Go to the World of Solutions, spin one of the wheels, and you could actually win one of these and take it back with you. The Instant Office. Next, I want to talk to you about something that you have been pushing us very hard. Thank you very much for really adopting Huddle in your workplace. The RoomKit Mini, it's been a fantastic success. We provide incredible manageability. But you told us you want us to even help you go into those smaller spaces, start small, and then start thinking about going really big. Well, introducing for the first time is the Webex Room USB. Incredible device because you bring in your laptop, plug it in, and now with any meeting client, have rich, very engaging video. It has premium sound, wireless sharing. Yes, you can share content. And it also has a remote. So really making it super simple to bring it across, start small, and bring it across all those different spaces. And here's the other thing. We are the first in industry to also allow for an upgrade path. So as you start thinking then of bringing it into all the other spaces and have manageability, very important. When you've got 100 of these devices across your different floor plan, you want to manage them at scale from a single pane of glass. Yes, with the RoomKit Mini and the entire portfolio that we have, we will help you manage it at scale. So industry first in terms of providing this easy upgrade path and making this transition. I also want to talk about something that you've been with us on this journey the last couple of years. I'm so pleased to talk to you about the Webex board because we started this journey a few years ago. It is something we are truly delivering in terms of the tablet on the wall. It is for business. It is incredible for communication, for video, whiteboarding, but the same device can have applications, Trello, O365, Jira, and yes, even games. So drive engagement on this particular device across the entire workplace. And in recognition of all the great effort that we've done, we've had industry analysts. Wayne House just published a report as of yesterday, just talking about the fact that the Webex board is the most sophisticated, complete solution in terms of driving engagement across the workplace. So I really want you to try the Webex board, get familiar with it. It is going to drive engagement across your workplace. Lastly, you have been pounding the table and telling us to think, rethink, and reimagine immersive in the new age. How many of you had a chance to take a look at Webex Room Panorama? Our new immersive for the modern C-suite. This is going to win hearts and minds of every C-suite and every boardroom. Please take a look at it at the World of Solutions. We've got an incredible demo, and I believe that this will really drive in some amazing moments with all these different boardrooms and C-suite. For that matter, we've also provided incredible flexibility, which allows you to start thinking about other types of ways to scale this. And let me go ahead and ask them to play the video. So go visit the panorama at the World of Solutions. So moving forwards, we've also been very hard at work to help drive manageability of all these assets across your platform. To give you more, Amit?
Thank you. So Sandeep, all these devices you're going to ship, the hundreds and thousands of them, they're going to create more and more complicated IT challenges. And along everything, right? Management, diagnostics, analytics, all of those aspects. About a year ago, this time last year, we didn't really have much of a game in terms of diagnostics or analytics, but we've really taken big strides in here. I think the key improvements you will see are the live or real-time diagnostics for all of the meetings that might be active at any given point. And to the level at which we are able to manifest that data, every single participant, doesn't matter mobile, devices, apps, right down to the packet loss, jitter, all kinds of data that a typical IT support desk would need handy when someone's complaining that a meeting is not going right. This is live, and this actually sets the foundation for how AI will help it get better going forward. Because in the coming months, we're going to have tons and tons of data collected about everywhere, of course, anonymized. But for a given customer or a partner, they now have a sense for, is there a particular location that was running into more reds than others? Is there a particular user or a group of users that is experiencing poor quality than others? And they could build quick correlations to actually get to some proactive steps, as in even avoid that trouble ticket call. In terms of management, the device management in terms of cloud or even the on-prem devices. We didn't talk about Webex Edge for devices, but we've also created a way for on-prem devices to get their management and analytics into the control hub. And all of these are foundations or building blocks, ultimately, for the control hub to be IT's best friend, right? You can avoid the trouble tickets, if get one, diagnose those, and more importantly, do cool stuff to optimize your real estate resources. Because the tons of data that we're going to have with the in-room analytics, what was the occupancy? Was it an 8-person room typically occupied by 2 people? All of that's now available, and it's going to be mined proactively. Sandeep, if you want to add something here.
Now, this is absolutely something which I believe will help drive decision-making, analytics, and optimization as you're thinking about the next generation of your workplace. So, Amit,
What does that look like?
we spent time hopefully taking you through a journey of winning hearts and minds for your users. We've also been very focused about winning hearts and minds for IT. But is this all real? And I want to take you through a little journey within Cisco ourselves. We ourselves have actually taken this same playbook and applied it internally. So I want to show you a little video of our office in Singapore. And this is very dear to me because actually, about a year ago, I moved to Oslo. And prior to that, I used to be based out of this office in Singapore. And when I went there to Singapore about 4 years ago, it wasn't the most inspiring office. It was one which was unengaging. You know, we found that folks didn't want to come back into the office because they just didn't drive engagement. We did certain very unique things to bring back that engagement. Let's go ahead and play the video, please. And folks, that is all real. And you know what? Here's how we started tracking engagement. We now have things like we look at badge-in rates. 40% increase in badge-in. The people in that office, they love coming into work. We're in fact also finding that while talent retention in the past used to be a challenge, we're now getting a flurry of resumes from companies, even our competitors. They want to come and work for Cisco. And lastly, this big exercise that was done, it actually gave a massive cost saving to the company. 12.5 million over 5 years. And that actually gave the opportunity to go transform that office. So a hugely powerful story. I'd love to have you also join in that journey to think about how you can modernize that experience and win hearts and minds across the workplace. So as I end along with Amit, whether your users are working from home, on their mobile phone, in huddle spaces, large spaces, the boardroom, we at Cisco have you covered with the most incredible capabilities to drive engagement and win hearts and minds of all of those users. So with that, thank you so much for being here.
And begin the journey by going to the booth, spin to win a Desk Pro.
World of Solutions. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.